Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining for today's webinar. We're waiting for more people to join. Good evening. Good afternoon if you're in a different time zone, or good morning. Currently, we're seeing more people join, and we of course have our Devant team members presenting today. We'll be covering a lot of exciting informations, and of course, it's a social activity, networking, virtual event. It's a chance where you want to just drop it in the chat, say hi to everyone. If you want to network, briefly introduce yourself, where you're joining today's webinar from. If you're from partner institutions, such as from any secondary institutions in Canada, you're setting any programs, feel free to share some information and drop your LinkedIn if you want to connect with any other participants from today's webinar. We'll be starting the webinar in a very short time. I am just waiting for more people to join. I hope that you are having a nice Wednesday evening. I know it has been a very cold couple of days. If you are new to Canadian weather, it's been tough. And it will only be getting colder more and more until next year, March. All right. While we're waiting for people to join for today's webinar, I am going to just briefly introduce myself, and we'll be starting with some interactive activities. First of all, thank you so much for spending Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with Devant team. I am Laisha. I'm Associate Director of Client Success and Strategic Initiative at Devant, and you're seeing on the screen is our Devant team members. And of course, today we are joined with some of our key colleagues from the Devant team. We'll be sharing some very insightful career planning insights with you. And also, just for everyone's attention, we are muting everyone. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask from today's panelists, please simply provide the questions in the Q&A chat box that you're seeing at the bottom of your screen. And of course, we will be answering questions gradually throughout the webinar. And at the end of the webinar, we'll have a Q&A session to answer all of your questions. The sessions will be recorded and it will be available for you to reference from our YouTube channel. And if you are new to Devant events, or if you want to explore more events, please go to our Devant website, devant.ca. You're able to see the calendar, what is happening for the next couple of weeks throughout the year. We haven't updated 2026 event calendar, but we will be updating it regularly so you can engage with us. All right, so some of you may not entirely sure of like what Devant does, who we are. Just a quick introductions. Devant, we help more than 150,000 international students and newcomers to be prepared and have a higher chance to be hired in Canada. So what we offer is we offer actionable advice from career coaches and industry experts through our live events and community-based engagement. We also have AI-driven tools supporting you to polish your resume, interview skills, and of course, expand your Canadian labor market knowledge. And we will be also providing some information connecting you with industry experts and employers, expanding your network within Canada. If you want to know more, please go to our website and also connect us through LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. All right. All right, so now we're starting with the first sort of prompt questions for everyone to start to warm up with our today's social event. If there's one word that you want to say, what will be your 2026 career goal? Please put that in the chat. I would like to know, everyone, what would be your career goal for the next year? If you are not so sure what your career goal is for 2026, no worries. I hope by the end of today's webinar, you would have some basic concept of what directions you want to go forward in 2026. That I'm seeing people are putting in the chat saying looking for jobs, getting stable job. Whoa, he's coming up really fast. Looking for a summer internship. And yeah, I'm seeing some people say quality assurance, business analyst position, and get a job after finishing the college right away. A lot of people that I'm seeing is finding a stable job, whether it is internship or employment that is aligning with what you're currently studying as you're graduating soon from your college. Yes. And I saw successful interviews. Absolutely. Networking for future co-ops. Well, thank you so much for sharing all those insights. Please have more information putting up in the chat. We would like to have the conversation ongoing as we continue the webinar for the day. The next question I have for you, just sit there and think briefly, what will be the one career achievement that you're most proud of? And also, do you ever thought of what skills or experience that you actually would want to build next for the upcoming year that you feel like you have started but haven't really polished your experience or your skills for your dream career? Anything you want to share, please put that in the chat. But I'm seeing some people have shared having hard time getting job this year. Yep, a lot of people actually getting laid off too. I have so many of my friends, they lost their job this year. That's very unfortunate with a lot of uncertainty happening in the different industries. And that I'm seeing some people have mentioned, I would like to expand my network and work as office administrator. That's very inspiring too. Thank you for sharing your LinkedIn in the chat as well. One person said go over the recessions and less professional market. Thank you for sharing that. Build experience. All right. Anyone who want to share briefly in terms of if there's any skills or experiences that you feel that you're currently lack of and you would like to continue to build for your ideal career path, the ideal job that you would want to pursue, let's say after you're graduating or after you finish your co-op term. One person, Hilash, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, mentioned skills need to improve, expand networking skills, especially learning more in terms of cybersecurity relevant information. One person said, Benjamin, thank you for sharing, getting certified in water treatment and getting a job in the field. And you would like to improve your accounting skills such as caseware, tax prep, Excel, Power BI, and etc. Well, Benjamin, maybe someone from the team, from the audience today would like to connect with you afterwards and help you to network and improve your understanding with caseware, maybe, or text prep skill sets. That I'm seeing interview skills. That's very important. Yeah, someone data analyst and work as quality assurance before coming to Canada. Thank you for sharing all this information. All the questions that I have prompted you so far will be thoroughly throughout the presentation today will be discovered, and we'll talk more in depth in terms of like how you can build your career goal for next year effectively and how you can identify your career achievement that you have so far accomplished, whether through your past experiences back in your home country or your studies that you have accomplished in your academic institutions. And of course, understanding how you can identify your skill gap and what you can leverage to further expand your skill and knowledge while you're still pursuing, let's say, your education or your co-op internship. All right, I'm seeing there are some hands being raised. I'll really appreciate if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box. We will be answering the questions throughout the presentation. And at the end, we will have Q&A sections available for you that will be answering your questions live. All right, so now we're coming to formal sections of our panelist presentation. First and foremost, I would like to invite Rod, co-founder and CEO of Devant, to provide you some first-hand knowledge when it comes to understanding skills gap and also build your competitive advantage. All right, Rod, would you want to take over the sections?
Take it away. You bet. Thanks, Leisha.
Perfect.
First things I want to do is say greetings, everyone. I'm so glad you could join us this evening. Absolutely thrilled. My name is Rod Skinkle. I am a co-founder of Devant. And I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes providing you with some background because I think it's useful for the context today. So my background is I spent nearly a decade working in one of Canada's largest universities. My job there was to actually provide program development and evaluation research for student services. In other words, I looked at whether or not programs were working and how they were helping students and how well they were doing that. Following that, I then co-founded a company called Academic Group. Academic Group is still going today, 28 years later. And what we did was we worked with colleges and universities all across Canada, again, focusing on helping them with student success and student market research and student programs and services. Same thing that we're talking about here tonight. So that's the background that I had. And then finally, a colleague of mine, Denis Gravel, and I co-founded Devant. And we founded Devant for one sole purpose, and that was to help support students, alumni, and newcomers to Canada with career development. So we've developed an entire platform around that, providing you with tools, resources, expert advice, and live sessions like this, as well as AI tools that you can use at your discretion if you're joined with us. Um, Now, the thing that I want to turn to now is getting a job, right? So the title of our session here today is Own Your Future, and it's about networking. But it's not the kind of networking advice that you see on the left here, where it says, be strategic and be prepared. Yes, being strategic is very important and being prepared is very important. But what I'm going to show you now is an actual process that will enable you to be strategic. And a process has a lot of advantages because a process is something that you can adapt to your own needs. A process is something that you can improve on, and a process is something that you can keep. So it's not just straightforward advice like be strategic. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take you through a session, just reviewing this process. I'm going to go very quickly because following this session, we're going to explore it more with our career coach, Aahna, who's here with us, and with the other experts on the team. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of whip through this process, but I will take time now to explain it to you. So let me just advance the next slide. So what you see here in front of you now is how we tend to think about higher education. Normally, we just think of it in terms of jobs. Like normally you say, okay, I've got my degree, I've got my diploma, and I know there's employers out there. I know there's demand for jobs. So what I need to do is just match my credentials, get a resume, apply for a job, and that's the process. That's how we think about it. But the really important ingredient that we don't tend to think about so much is the employability skills, because that is what the employer is actually looking for. When we say employer demand, they may have a job. In many cases, as I'll explain to you in a moment, they may not even know they have a job, but what they do have is needs, and whether they're a large company or a small company. So what we're going to focus on today is helping you with the process of identifying the employability skills that employers are looking for. And our job today is to actually put those together for you. So to actually improve the connection between your education, the employment demand, and we're going to do that by focusing on employability skills. Before we do that, I want us to spend a few moments on that employment demand. So let's just look at where we are today in terms of the economy, the jobs, that kind of thing. So it pays off for us to be realistic and to be well grounded when we're starting our career search, or even if we're well into our career search. The reality is that we've got over 600,000 students graduating per year in Canada, all competing for jobs. Youth unemployment, it remains stubbornly high in this country, and it's about twice the national average for non-youth. And furthermore, this is even more disturbing. The underemployment level, meaning those who are working in jobs that are not do not match their credentials and their experience and their degrees, is as high as, in many cases, approaching 50%, 30 to 40%, and depending on the sector. So that's kind of the bad news, or that's the reality. But the good news is employers do report skills gaps. We deal with recruiters and employers all the time, and they report skills gaps in communication, in teamwork, and increasingly in digital fluency, as you can imagine. And that can mean a lot of different things. But it's not just the technical skills you're bringing from your job that they mention. And finally, also good news, many of the roles are going unfulfilled due to a shortage of work-ready talent and limited onboarding capacity. So what do we mean by that? What we mean is there are jobs there, but a lot of employers don't have, aren't finding the job-ready talent, people ready to jump right in with the employability skills that they're looking for, and they don't have time to onboard them and train them. And so a lot of jobs are just simply going unfulfilled. So that's the gap that we want to show you today, starting today, but on all of our efforts are geared towards helping you understand those employability skills and the job gap. Now, I want to start with just the obvious. So this is a typical scheme for how you go about finding work, right? You'll be familiar with this probably. There's 3 stages: planning, preparation, and action. All 3 stages are vital. But what I want to share with you first off is that this planning stage, the good news is this is the one you're actually trained for. You need to think about this as this is research. I mean, you're all students, you all have degrees or diplomas, in many cases, both. You know how to do research. So what you're going to do now is apply that research skill to getting a job. And there are actual steps to the process, and that's what I'm going to walk you through. But I also want to stress with you that this is the most overlooked stage among all of our career coaches, and this is the thing we constantly hear from employers as well, is that it's this planning and preparation stage that is the most often overlooked, particularly planning. Now, again, remember, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to put together all the time, we're trying to focus on employability skills, because it's not just applying for a job. You see a job and then you get your resume and you try and match it up. But what we need to understand is what are the skills in that sector that are not being met, so that when they say all the time, oh, we want experience, what they're really saying is they want people job ready. They want people who can jump in and go right to work. And so they ask for experience. But what we really are looking for are those employability skills. So what I'm going to do next is show you something else, that this is a step, this is an investment. Here's a step you can invest your time in that most people really don't understand. And that is that is in between these 3 steps. What we're really saying here is that this entire process, planning, preparation, and action, it's a continuous loop. You're going to actually develop, it's your career exploration that's going to help you develop your career plan. And while you're doing the networking, which is usually down in step 3 after you have your resume, while you're doing your networking, what you're actually doing is employer research. And that's how it's going, that loop is what is going to differentiate you from many other people that are applying for work. So what we mean by that is, when you do enough of the actual research to understand, first of all, what your dream job is, and then understand what the sectors where that dream job can be found and where your skills can be applied, and you're going to do that research, that's what's going to actually lead to providing you with structural advantage over others. So basically, it's a very simple pyramid. We describe it as a pyramid. I mean, again, if as we stressed at the beginning of the session when Leisha was talking, do you know what your dream job is? Like, have you done enough research to know specifically what your dream job is? And if you have, then what we say is, first you start by identifying 2 to 4 employment sectors. By that we mean, like, the sectors, the big industry sectors that you're applying to. Don't restrict yourself to just one, because there's going to be transferable skills that you have, and there are going to be many different jobs that you don't know about that you may actually qualify for. So the first thing is try to find at least 2 to 4 employment sectors and start doing the research on those. And the way you do that is you identify at least 25. It depends on the sector. Some sectors are larger than others, but we recommend identifying at least 25 to 50 target employers. Because when you do, you're going to find out an awful lot about the sector. You're going to find out who those, like, you'll know who the big ones are. Say you want to work in, consulting. You'll know about, Ernst and Young, and you'll know about the big names. But but there's actually consulting companies all across the country, small and medium-sized employers that in fact aren't the obvious ones that you're going to know about. So, but when you do the research, you're going to learn, and you want to treat this research just like a major thesis. For example, if you were doing a master's degree or a major project, if you were doing a college diploma, you want to treat this just like that. Because if you think about it, you may have spent anywhere between 2 and 7 years getting all your education, but you're going to spend maybe 30 or 40 years working. The effort that you put into getting this job, getting the right job, is actually, if you think about it, equally, if not more important than getting the degree in the first place. So identify 25 to 50 employers, literally build the list. And then while you're doing that, you're going to develop hundreds of contacts as well. How are you going to do that? I'm going to talk about that a bit in a bit. And we're going to talk about it later in the session with Aahna, our career coach, and with the other experts that we have on the team. But this is the process. Now, let's just go through a few pro tips doing this. So it's important to understand that 70 to 80% of jobs are never advertised. And I know that's some people are shocked by that, but that's the reality. And the reason for that is because most jobs, or most of the employers, are actually small private employers. And so 90% of the non-public sector jobs in Canada are with small to medium-sized employers. That's what I mean by SMEs, small to medium-sized employers. So what you want to do is you want to think in terms of the large companies, yes, but you want to think in terms of the small companies as well. And when you're doing research on them, by research, I mean you're going online, you're learning about the company, you're finding blogs from industry experts, and they're talking about what's going wrong and what's going right in the sector. And this is the difference between you and somebody who just randomly drops a resume in, right? You want to be much better prepared, not only in developing your cover letter, but also being ready for that interview. But here's the really big one that I want to talk about, the next one actually, but this one is just make that list big. You want to prioritize it obviously as you go along. In other words, which sectors are most important, which employers look a best fit for me, and be creative in that list. Like, don't hold back. Look for companies and types of jobs that you might not have ordinarily thought of. This is all part of that research process. Here's the one that we really want to stress tonight, and that is understanding the skills gap. This is something that most people don't really spend a lot of time on. It's like I was saying before, when they advertise, and even if they're not advertising, they're looking for certain skills, and that's what you're going to try to discover as you do your research. Now let's just see what we really mean by that. So think of it this way. You have a resume. That's your resume. You have your dream job. You know what the dream jobs are. Don't just choose one, pick a half a dozen. Be realistic in your dream jobs. I mean, if you're just starting out, you've only got a year experience or less, you're not going to apply for your dream job. Shouldn't be director or senior vice president or something, but you're realistic, but find those dream jobs. And then what you want to do is you want to understand the skills gap between your resume and that job description. But here's the really important part. It's not just that one job description. What you want to do is you want to plan, you want to understand the skills gap right across the industry so that you can find more and more opportunities. And the second thing you want to do is you want to develop a plan to address the skills gap. So like, again, we'll talk about some of this tonight, and you'll have some ideas and thoughts to hopefully to share with the rest of the group when we get into the discussion stage. But our goal here is to get you thinking about what the skills gaps are in those sectors, what the employers are looking for. It may be, what on a very shallow level is number one. That's where you compare your resume to the job description and you say, oh, they're asking for communication skills. I must mention communication skills on my resume. Well, everybody else is going to do that too. That's not going to differentiate you. Everybody's going to match their resume to the dream job. What you want to do is find out to differentiate yourself from the others is find out what those skills are that those employers are looking for when they say, I want experience. What they really mean is, I want somebody who's job ready and who can jump right in quickly. So that's what we mean. And in fact, I have a quick announcement tonight, just something unusual, but we are inviting you to, if you want to get a hold of us. You leave us your email. Follow up with us because we are developing a product which is designed to it's called Career Sprite. And we're developing it and we're testing it now. And what it's designed to do is to take your resume and your dream job and to match, not only look at what skills are missing, but to actually provide you with a plan for developing those missing skills. So it's not only going to tell you what skills are missing, and not only for that job, but we sweep widely across the sector with this product. And then it helps you identify those skills that you need to develop. And so while you're doing your research and applying for jobs, what you're also doing, what we recommend you do is that you go ahead and start actually developing the skills that you've discovered through your research that you know that they're missing. And so when you do your networking and you do an interview with somebody or you ask them for an interview, it's not about getting a job. It's about understanding their sector and continually drilling down. And as you do more and more of this, you're just going to get better and better at it. So yes, that was, if you'd like to join our pilot project, we'd love to have you, and it'll actually give you some great experience, and something you can actually put on your resume working with us on a pilot project to develop a new product. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now is turn this back over to Laisha, who's going to jump into the next sessions.
Thank you so much, Rod. I do see there are some questions coming in the Q&A sessions. We are taking note of it and we'll be responding to you the Q&A sections. And I've also seen in the chat, one person asked how to join the Devant Career Spread user community. So if you're seeing on the screen, I have a poll that is launched. If you click on yes, then we will reach out to you. So please click on yes. That in that case, we're able to reach out to you afterwards for this opportunity to join Devant and be part of this pilot experience. If you cannot, for some reason, click on yes due to technology issues, please put that in the chat. Mention that you would like to join the Career Sprite user community and also leave your email address so we're able to contact you. All right. With that being said, I will end the poll in the next few seconds, but please continue if you want to join the committee for the pilot project. If you cannot, click on yes, then leave your email in the chat as you're confirming in the chat with us. All right. The next session will be invited our Devant team with our career coach Aahna. We'll be doing some roundtable discussions to have sort of a storytelling sessions to learn about how some of our Devant team members have launched their early stage career and how the career path has been growing throughout the year, and also providing some practical advice. So Aahna, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, thank you all for taking the time to attend today's session. This sessions are very, very useful. Personally speaking, I've been coaching for so many years, and I can assure you that I've seen successful results, from job seekers to people working in well-known organizations. So the knowledge here that you gain is pure wealth. It's like I always say, your network is your net worth. So you
Mhm.
definitely something to help with. Okay, so landing straight into the roundtable discussion. So one of the questions that I have is, what is the most effective networking move you've made that genuinely helped your career? Who would like to probably start off with?
Well, I can go first.
Sure.
So for me, so I am an international student. I came to Canada. My home country is India. I came to Canada 2022. Um, like all, I was also confused how to network with people out here in Canada. How should I? I was doing my master's from Brock University, and then I was like, I don't know how to network with people in order to get a job. I was all focused on asking for job. Like if I meet someone, I would straight away ask for a job. I think that is something which I moved away from. The most effective networking, which I believe is that I have done, I didn't ask for a job anymore. So it was not asking, I was asking for a clarity. So I did reach out to people and say that I'm trying to understand what really matters in this role and what would you expect someone new to be good in their first 90 days. So instead of asking for a job, I was asking for more information, more clarity, and those conversations actually gave me much better direction than generic advice. So that helped me focus my learning where it mattered. So that is what I did for networking. I changed, I pivoted, and that actually helped me.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good change of gears, I would say. I personally have come across I've been a job seeker at one point, right? And I think throughout our careers, we at some given point or the other, we are on the other side of the table where we are giving interviews. And I think the major gap that I see with job seekers is knowledge. Awareness about the industry. A lot of the times, I get questions. I want to be in an IT role, or I want to, let's say, be in HR role, or I want to be in logistics and supply chain. But within HR too, you have five or six branches. What are the certifications that's required? What are the soft skills? What are the technical skills? Similarly with every industry. So I think connecting with individuals over LinkedIn from your similar background and industry is very, very important. I personally feel LinkedIn is very underutilized by a lot of job seekers. It's very important, to go on LinkedIn. It's a platform created to network, to understand what's happening within the industry, to connect with fellow, people that you might end up working with. You never know. But there are people out there willing to help, to guide you, to share their knowledge and experience. Uh, it might not be 100%. You might reach out to 20 people, maybe 20 might respond, maybe one might, maybe none might, but at least you've tried. I call it plant your seeds. You never know when the tree grows and fruit bears, right? That's the way I look at LinkedIn as. Anyone else? Kritika, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think networking is really hard for newcomers. And
Yes.
I'm a recent graduate, by the way. I
Mhm.
just graduated as analytics from Lakeshore College, Humber. So
Mhm.
I'm fairly new to this, and I know that it's really hard. I know that some people are like me who will find it really difficult to find people and to connect with them. So I'm learning too. And that's where I realized that it's very important to first start, have something with you, like a project or some background about you. You should have something to share about yourself. You should be proud of. I can say that, yeah, I've made this, and yeah, I can do this, and then introduce yourself. It gets easier for a person who is not a complete extrovert. So you
Mhm.
get to know about yourself first, and then you can share it with the other people. So I think that helped me a lot.
No, that's good. Like you've covered exactly what I was going to say as well. It's very important to identify. I always call it, create a list about, your strengths, your something that you want to work on, something that you want to achieve. Right? It could be a certification. It could be a soft skills. Which something that you probably, within the next 5-10 years where you want to be, right? And then once you understand yourself, you're able to communicate yourself better, right, about who you are and what you do and what you want to do in the future. Another question that I'd have is, was there a skill that you probably didn't have? It could be technical, soft skills, anything, but you still went after the role anyway, and how did you close that gap?
I built I actually shifted my entire career. So I started as an engineer and I didn't like it that much. And there might be so many people who will relate to this, that I didn't completely want to be a whole day working in coding and completely doing one thing. So that's why I pivoted. I tried to make myself learn again. So basically, I joined anything and everything I could. And I didn't start with something that was too pricey or too costly. I started with something that was free, like all those Google certificates you can find and all the online courses you can find. I started with this. I tried to see what would I like more. Do I like this? Does this course make sense to me? And after that, a lot of courses later, I realized that I really like analysis. So data analysis is really close to what was doing before. And then after learning a lot of more things, like gaining more experience, understanding the courses, and to see what these companies require, I realized that this is what we're going to do. After doing all those courses, then I came to Canada to understand, okay, so let me go get a graduate degree after this. So there is always a path if you want to make it. You just have to start and find what you want to do. Even if you want to shift your career, or if you want to have a new skill, it's not that far away. There are a lot of free resources available as well. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. Anything you'd like to add, Preeti?
Yeah. Yes, honestly, there was a skill that I didn't have. I still went for that role anyway. And honestly, Anna, that's more common that people think.
Mhm.
I didn't wait until I was fully ready. Instead, I looked at the role and asked like, what's one or two skills I need to get better at and functional at quickly. And in order to build a proof, an artifact which I can show to employers or show to my mentors, I worked on small real examples, learned from the people already in that role, or showed that I could apply to that skill, not just talk about it. So for example, data and insight skills, I think I'll just echo what Kritika just said, but data and insight skill was something I didn't have, but I learned, I collected some artifacts, I collected some proof. And once I was ready, I went for that role. So that was my way of doing it, getting that job. And I was actually successful in doing that.
No, that's good. That's good. I'll also share one quick example. I started off my career in recruitment and HR. I did that, started from day one. I was coaching, prepping job seekers for interviews. I did that for about 7 to 8 years, and then I realized, okay, what do I want to do next? After you've worked in one field for so long, you start thinking, okay, what's next? Back in the year they were back in the days, there was not much awareness, many resources. Now we have a lot more resources, a lot more tools, AI, chat GPT, all the fun stuff that's out there in the world now. So at that point in time, I was working with various different organizations, and one such was ICTC. They reached out to me and they said, would you ever be interested in being a facilitator? To me, I was like, why would I want to do facilitation? I was in HR, recruitment, operations, cut to change to training and development, make all these slides and go out there and present to like 20, 30 people who are searching for jobs, create workshops. I got nervous. Because that's a skill I didn't have. I wasn't doing that. But it made me think, why don't I use this as an opportunity? It was a 2-year contract. Why don't I use this as an opportunity to make it my strength? So it was something I needed to improve on. I didn't have presentation skills. I wasn't familiar with creating training plans, but I used that as an opportunity to, I go by the quote, sell your weaknesses and buy your strength. So I now use those 2 years to make that a core strength of mine. So today I'm able to do that more easily. So sometimes it's not always about the job title. Always look at what skills you have, how they better fit into the upcoming, into any role that you might apply for, and something that you might not have. Try to see is, what am I going to gain out of this opportunity? So every opportunity, like a lot of the times people go on job titles, I always say go on the skills. Don't necessarily, because every organization has different job titles. So that's something I wanted to share from personal experience. Okay, I think enough of us probably talking. I mean, we will continue talking, but I'd like to hear from
Absolutely.
everyone else. Sorry, go ahead.
Anna, I want to share one last thing on this
Yeah, of course,
specific
go ahead.
skills gap. Oftentimes, in my experience, it was as my role within Devant has grown, I have been given on more responsibilities that requires more higher level skills, and oftentimes those skills are more soft skills due to
Correct.
my profession, that it comes to communication, um, problem solving, and
Yes.
also project management when it comes to negotiating and coordinating with different stakeholders within the company. And it only comes with the attitude of like you want to learn. So I have been practically asking my colleagues for feedback. That comes first. Second is also I have utilized technology. I have been going on the site to learn what are the soft skills available and doing some real life simulation, quizzes, activities to feel more confident when it comes to problem solving, communication, and go put myself out there to continuously practice on my interpersonal skills. Because at the end of the day, if you are pursuing a career that is front facing, talking to people, then you would definitely want to improve, enhance your soft skills and transferable skills.
And I
Yeah.
can just jump in there. I would like to add from an employer perspective.
Yeah.
So, Leisha, how did you get your job at Devon?
That's a forever story. It's very interesting. I actually attended a conference as a student while still studying at Caribbean College back in Sudbury as an international student 2 years ago. I knew I was going to graduate in less than 3 months, and I have to start early to find networking opportunities. And I did my research. What I did is I decided to go for national-wide conference because I want to pursue a career in education. And I was the only student who paid the conference fee because the student fee was cheaper. It was roughly around $300. So I booked my ticket. I went to Toronto and I was only a student. First time going to 1 week, 1,000 people national wide conference because I know if I go there, I will be meeting company representatives that are at the director and CEO level. And I was at the booth. There's a networking sessions in between what in between like information sessions. So I was circling around the booth and collecting this thick of like so many business cards from different business owners presenting myself. And eventually Rod approached me. He said, "Who are you? What is your background? What is your aspiration? Send me your resume." And that's where I directly met Rod and our other former co-founder Denis. And what I did is I followed through. Yes, I was there. I connect with Rod. I did not just stop there. I sent email repeatedly in January and I proposed follow-up meeting. And eventually, before I even graduated, I was able to join the Devant team. So that's one of the experience I would like to highlight. You have to put the efforts in there and be very strategic on who you're going to reach out to and just go for it.
So
Yeah.
the reason I wanted Leisha to share that is because that's what I mean by research. I mean, she went to a national conference, but you can also today do deep research on conferences in the sectors that you're applying to. What employers are at the conference? See, that's a source of research. That's not just going on LinkedIn and saying, name all the companies in this. Well, that's worth doing as well, but there are many ways, and the more research you do, the more you're going to learn about the sector. And I'm going to do one more quick example because I think it really drives it home.
Mm-hmm.
Preeti, Preeti got her job with Devon in a different way. I went online looking for people with a particular set of skills in a particular area that I was interested in, and Preeti's LinkedIn profile came up, and I reached out to her, and that's how we ended up getting together in the first place. But you see, that's an example. I'm just a typical small employer. At Academic Group, we had around 30 people, and at Devant, we have less than that. But these small employers that I'm telling you about, they rarely advertise for jobs because they don't want to get 300 resumes for one small job. And so what they do is they find people in the ways that we've talked about here tonight. And that's what you need to do, is to do the research and build the network. Back to you, Aahna.
Great.
Perfect. No, great example. Thank you so much. I can vouch for these examples because I've got cold calls, I've got random emails, and I always appreciate and I can speak, for I'm sure all the other employers will echo that too. I think honesty, authenticity, and the passion to strive, right? The passion to succeed. It shows up, it shows in emails and calls. So definitely put the effort out there. Like I said, plant the seeds. I'm sure fruits will come. Okay, so moving on. So I think this is the time where I'd want everyone to kind of participate, pitch in for our participants as well. um, what is your ideal, like we've already discussed what the plans for jobs earlier on was, but do you actually understand what skills employers are looking for? So for example, I know someone mentioned they want to get into HR. What skills are employers looking for within HR? Have you done the research? So what I would want some participants to kind of share their feedback, not necessarily HR, but whatever their target role is, what skills are employer looking for in that role? Have you had any exposure, any based on maybe even looking at the job description, are you able to understand that?
And I'm seeing as people are like maybe spending some time typing it out, Aahna, I
Okay,
see on the for them Q&A session, one person
perfect.
specifically said, I have
Mhm.
no idea about finance sector, but perhaps want to pursue a career in finance or a career pivot. That could be one of I don't know any suggestions that you would have for someone who wants to pursue a different career direction, but really have no idea how to start.
Sure. So, especially like I said, anytime you want to do any career changes, right? I've had people do from HR to IT or vice versa or finance. It's extremely important to understand what stream within that field you're going into. So, when you say IT, are you looking into data analysis? Are you looking into software development? Are you looking for a developer? Even further into developer, are you looking for iOS, Android, full stack? Or if you're not looking for that, are you looking for network security? Do you have the are you aware of the certifications that it requires, right? So just a request to everybody, when we say I want to change my career into this, let's understand what specific career within that career are you looking for, right? So it's extremely important to gain that knowledge and understanding. So when we say finance, when you say finance sector, within the finance sector, are you looking for to be a financial service representative? Are you looking for to do the Canadian security scores? Are you looking to be like various different things, right? Are you going towards the CPA CGA side of things, payroll, what side, right? So I think that for the once you break down into that, understand what you have current skills that are transferable. So if Excel is, let's say, your strength, if those technical skills, if you just need certifications, do you have the required education or the courses to apply for that certification? So there's a lot of research that you have to do in the back end to be able to say, okay, yes, this is what I want to transition into. Maybe have three top choices within that field. So if it's IT, maybe I want to be a developer, I want to be into network, I want to do within the developer, I'll probably aim for being a front end developer. Then I'll so that will further help you streamline and clear those thoughts.
So would you suggest that as a step one to set your career goal for next year or like the ideal path that you want to build is list your key skills, your
Yes,
transferable skills, and then the
correct.
skills that you think are very much required for the career. And then try to do a kind of a mind map and find the interconnections and then find the gap, then be strategic about it.
That's correct. You probably framed it right in the way I was trying to say. Is that yes, that's very important, and this will not happen overnight. This will not probably
Mm-hmm.
happen in a week time. I always say give it about 3 to 4 weeks, a month, to fully
Mm-hmm.
understand. Okay, because at the end of the day, this is what you want to do for the next couple of years, or maybe for the rest of your life. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to really think strategically of what you have, what you need, and what you want. All of that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
kind of mapping, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Because I see in the chat, thank you for Benjamin and Austin sharing some of the information that what you're looking for, and of course what skills that you have had so far. I guess another thing is I want to know, tie back to perhaps to Rod's presentation and then what Rod has shared from employers, like expectation on the skills that you need, that tied into once you understand yourself, right? And what do you offer, that you definitely need to research on employers. You have to maybe go at the individual level to understand what the company owner or the key upper executive director level, what they are doing and then what problem they're trying to solve,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe have a conversation to understand what is the thing that you're struggling right now. And then you evaluate how you can pitch yourself to solve the problem for them. Because if I'm thinking of myself, maybe when I'm a business owner, I want to hire someone who can help me to solve the problem that I'm struggling right now. Right?
Yeah.
So that tied into, do you know which skills employer want for that role? And happy if anyone wants to share that specific questions in the chat, that will be also very helpful to engage and share and learn. Anything, Rod and Aahna, you wanna provide insight that can help to shape the goal setting
Yeah,
practices for our
I
audience?
think I think that what we're describing here tonight and the way that we are looking at it, and I'm looking at the chat, and I see
Mm-hmm.
so many people really getting it here. They really understand, and they're adding and sharing with the others. Like, for example, Emmanuel asks for skills, technical and soft. I've attended courses. I've attended as courses and I put into practice with experience, but not ended up with a certification. Is that a valid argument? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a really good question, right? Like, do you always need to
Mm-hmm.
end up having certification? So for certain things, certification isn't even necessary. I'll give you an example. For many businesses, say you're looking for a marketing role, for many job descriptions, if you do that research that we're talking about, you're maybe going to find often you'll find reference to Salesforce, which is one of the most best known marketing products out there, right, for businesses. And then you ask yourself, so what is it about Salesforce that I need? And one of the things that we do with our product research is we look at what employers are asking for this and what specifically are they asking for. And that is back to I think to the point here, which is you may not need certification in Salesforce, but you may want to be able to say, yes, I'm very familiar with it. And you may even want to develop a product or a little project to show that you have what you have done with that. Because that immediately establishes that you do have experience. Even if, it's not 5 years experience in the industry, if they're asking for that, but it's experience with the specific thing that specific employer had asked about. And that's just one example. Every sector has, the products, and some of your comments here, you listed those. So it was really, I think it's really on point. I don't know, Aahna, if there's anything you can add to that, but
No, I think I think all our conversations tonight we've captured kind of that, and that leads on to the next question, right? Like a lot of, I think, early, probably once the holiday is over, I think the first thing is planning, getting these goal settings in place, starting January. Like, what skills or experience do you need to build next? And that will, be very important, right? And this will all come down from the research. So do your research. I cannot stress enough how much research is very important, because a lot of the times, I've been there, and I'd be like, I'm not getting any responses. Nobody's reaching back to me. Nobody's reaching out to me. And then I see, I never think back and say, okay, maybe my resume might have been an issue. Maybe something I said in the interview didn't work out, or am I even applying to the right jobs? Extremely important. It's not quantity, it's quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important, right, to do that self analysis, because once we understand where we stand in the job search market, we are, equipped to present ourselves better, apply, to the right job, connect with the right individuals on LinkedIn, do our research on LinkedIn, use Boolean logic search. I always say use those search strings. It's and, or, and not. Try to understand, if you're living where, whichever employers or organizations rather you're applying for, do that research, do that homework, right? extremely important. That helps you build your pipeline. That helps you clear your vision board. And then once you're clear here, then you're able to be more confident. Um, okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna and everyone, for the insights. I think we have a lot of questions are in the
Yes.
pipeline in the Q&A. So maybe we can start with the Q&A of listing all the questions. All right. So the first questions is shared by Hemant, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, saying I'm transitioning from a customer service role to HR role. Anna, it's very relevant to you. Looking for guidance on what skills I need to develop in order to land a job in 3 to 5 months.
Perfect. So as I've mentioned, I think I've already addressed this earlier. Within HR, what within HR, right? So are we looking at HR generalist? We're looking at recruiter. We're looking at payroll. We're looking, so which specific sector within HR? And again, based on that, usually if you're looking for level HR roles, they don't start off based on the organization. They don't require certifications, but yes, your sort of kind of as time goes, you will have to get those HR certifications, right? Again, it varies from employer to employer. So I would say within HR, try to understand which sector within HR you're looking for, like which section part of HR would you be interested in going towards. I usually tell everyone, if you are open to just getting into anything, then recruitment is pretty much in demand in
Mm.
Toronto at least, and that's probably one of the easiest stream of HR to get into as well, from experience.
Thank you for sharing that. And we have a second question from Austin, asking what would make an effective networking interactions? What questions or mindset should I be used to prompt connections for networking? Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah,
I struggle with that sometimes too. When I network, I have list of questions I have to prepare, like continuously ask. Otherwise, I don't want awkward silence.
yeah,
Any insight?
I think just be authentic, be you. I always tell everyone, even if I plan as much as I can, and I can tend to get nervous too, right? Be authentic,
Mm-hmm,
be you. Have a list of probably three questions. I say always have three.
mm-hmm,
You don't want to overwhelm the person you're talking to as well. But it's always, good to, like, I think Preeti mentioned that earlier, you don't always have to go land there and say, I want a job, but try to
mm-hmm.
gain knowledge and, about the individual as well, right? It's not always about you, it
Absolutely.
should also be about the other person. That turns the conversation
Absolutely.
authentic. So I think that would be
Yeah.
one way.
And one thing I want to share my experience is if you do not know what to ask, if you can't really, but you still want to network with that professional person, go with a mindset to learn. Say, can you tell me how you have built your career? Can you tell me what is your experience so far in this industry? To see it as a sort of an information gathering. And in that case, you will feel less stressed.
Mhm.
And that person will also be oftentimes generously to share their input, their experiences for you to like feel more confident and to pursue the career that you would like to. All right. Um, and we have also next question. Dinesh, even for a same role, companies require one or two skills that are completely different. So it is hard to cover the skill gap. How do we cover those skills? It is not easy to learn all those skills when they keep changing according to companies.
Um, that's a very tricky one. Um,
Yes.
I'll try to answer it in the best of my knowledge, but usually I tell everyone, right? For example,
Mm-hmm.
you're a developer. The core skill set is the same. Over the years, as let's say Apple came in, and then you're let's say an iOS developer, the version keeps changing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
similarly in technology, let's say the core knowledge is the same. I always tell everyone, be up to date with basic, whether it's technical skills, try to be aware of what's happening in the industry. When we talk about, let's say, if it's something to do with Excel, try to take
Mm-hmm.
some courses. Again, YouTube. I think nowadays there is so
Mm-hmm.
much awareness and education on online platforms, so try to do that.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because it's not a very specific question, it's tough to gauge, but I always say be aware about what's happening in the industry market.
Thank you for sharing that. And I have next question. It's quite relevant, but not at the same time. It's not
Mhm.
really relevant to skills from Mubina. It's more
Okay.
asking for a lot of experiences that like the employers are asking for, even for entry level job that they don't have, that the maybe freshly graduates or transitioning from different industries. Like, how would you sort of fill the gap with lack of experience? Are you really lack of experience, or it is just you haven't really understand how to illustrate it? I know we're coming time very like it's 8 p.m., but we would like to go through some of the questions. If those
Yes,
who
yes.
wants to stay longer, please feel free to stay longer. Yes,
Yeah.
Anna.
I think I'll give you a quick example on this one.
Yeah,
I know a lot of job seekers get often overwhelmed, right? They look at the experience and they're like, "Oh
yeah.
God, I'm not going to apply." Few years ago, I had one student who was a recent graduate from York University. Our
Mm-hmm,
company was on the best managed, list, and she just called me to say, congratulations, you guys have made
mm-hmm,
it to the list. And I was just taken back by this small gesture of hers, of just calling to congratulate. I called her in for coffee. We ended up
mm-hmm.
chatting, and within 2 hours, I ended up offering her a job that I didn't have. Mind
Yeah.
you, if I went out and put out a job, I would have said I need minimum 1 year of experience or 2 years of experience.
Mm-hmm,
So sometimes don't get overwhelmed by that. It's very important for you to network with people. If you connect with individuals from your field and ask them, like, I normally see these jobs that have 2 years. What is the exact experience that they're looking for? Is it the
mm-hmm,
technical experience they're looking for? Is it practical working experience they're looking for? And within that practical working experience, what is it that they are focusing on, right? So
mm-hmm,
sometimes a lot of that knowledge that you have, sometimes you just need 2 or 3 days to kind of understand, okay, how do things work, right? Depending again on the
mm-hmm,
industry and the job you're applying
mm-hmm,
for. But I always say don't get blocked away by those statements. Sometimes it's important based on the
mm-hmm,
opportunity, but sometimes it is negotiable, right? So again, networking
mm-hmm.
is very, very, very important.
And I want to build on top of it. There
Mhm.
are volunteer experiences available. And also,
Mhm.
I will recommend you to maybe look for freelancing job,
Yeah,
project-based job.
yeah.
There are employers, especially small business owners, they're looking for 1 or 2 times project-based people to support them. And those small projects, maybe you will earn like $200, $100. Those are experiences that you can put on your resume and then you can build on top of it. Also explore the resources, like connect with Devant. We offer some workshops and also some resources on the platform that we offer at our events where you can build your network, your confidence, either transferable skills or your job search knowledge or your actual preparation for looking for a more serious job. There are companies like Devant available that you can connect with us. I know we're approaching time. We couldn't go through all the questions. I really appreciate everyone's attention. We will be responding to questions as our team will continue over the last couple of last things I want to mention. But if you haven't had the chance to really get your questions being answered, I will really recommend you to also reach out to us at info@devant.ca. The email will be shared in the chat. You can reach out to us, and if you need help, our team will connect you with professionals to support you with your questions. At the same time, if you go to Devant website, devant.ca, we also offer resources for those who wants to prepare yourself for, let's say, have a real resume prepared, your interview skills practice, and also look for some additional resources where you can shorten your skill gap and understand more of yourself, you want to join our community, please feel free to pick up your phone and scan the QR code on the screen. We do have an initiative called Alumni Advantage available for those who have graduated from Canadian institutions and you're currently looking for a job, whether internship, co-op, or career transitions. We offer resources where you can join our membership and explore the AI-based driven technology supporting you to build your portfolio, your resume, your interview skills. At the same time, you will receive advanced information coming from Devant on our career fairs, networking events, and the workshops. And last thing that I want to have everyone to support is I will do a quick poll and see if you would be willing to join our Alumni Advantage relevant information and events. If you are interested in being an early adapter for our new Alumni Advantage initiative with AI career tools and exclusive events, kindly click on yes, maybe, or no, so that we're able to reach out to you with more detailed information about Alumni Advantage initiatives. Right? I'll give some time. I'll not end the poll for now, but thank you so much for your time joining our event for the day. That should be wrap up for everything that we want to cover. I am very sorry we couldn't cover all the questions that you have. We did as much as we can, but don't worry. We will continue to host our weekly workshops and stay connected with Devant. Reach out to us at info@devant.ca. Connect us on LinkedIn, find our team members on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube and Instagram. It is part of the community, and we will love to have you to see your faces, hear your voice in 2026. If there's no any other plans, I hope that you will have a lovely holiday. Merry Christmas if you're celebrating Christmas, and Happy New Year. Please spend some time to list your skills and do some skill map analysis, find your key skills or transferable skills, and also research the employers so that you can map those gaps and find resources where you can build your experiences proactively for 2026. All right. Thank you so much. I wish you all have a lovely evening and have a lovely rest of your week. Thank
Bye,
you. Thank you
everyone. Have a nice
all.
holiday.
Happy
Of
holidays,
course.
everyone.
Thank you.